Good morning, everyone. So today our topic for the day is oleoresin and essential oil extraction from spices. So here we will be discussing about what are the different spices, the importance of spices, the basic characteristics and the classification of spices. And also we'll be dealing with the oleoresin extraction processes which are used. Moving on to the first slide. Here, which is what are spices? Like the basic definition here when we talk about spices is it's a part of a plant. It can be the bark, it can be the flowers, it can be the fruits, the seeds, and all these, when they are used in any of the culinary preparations, they actually add aroma and flavor to the foodstuffs. And the Geneva-based International Standards Organization, it actually defines spices as vegetable products or mixtures which are free from any extraneous matter in terms of dirt, dust, or any kind of debris which is there present in the spices, and also which adds seasoning or which adds some kind of a flavoring or aroma to our food preparation. There are about 109 spices which are found all over the world, of which India contributes about 75 spices in total. And the king and the queen of spices are black pepper and cardamom respectively. Coming to the characteristics of spices. Now these spices, as we all know, they have an aromatic value. They add aroma to our food. They are known to add flavor and taste to the food. They add to the shelf life of the food, specifically the dry varieties of spices. And then we have they improve the texture and introduce a palatable color. And we have carminative properties which help in digestion and the antibiotic properties of spices in certain food preparations. Classification. Now, when you talk about classification of spices, we are talking based on the parts of the plant from which we are essentially getting those spices. And the essential parts are the rhizomes or the bark or the leaf or the fruit or the seed of the spice. So on your screen, you can see the spices which we get from the different parts of the plant, which has been shown here. This is another conventional classification of spices based on the degree of the level of hotness that the spice provides, or the spicy nature of that particular spice. And you can see it is categorized or the different classes. They are hot spices, mild spices, aromatic spices, herbs, and also aromatic vegetables. And the slide is self-explanatory. You can just pick up the names of the different spices based on their hotness levels. So coming to the regulatory bodies for spices. Now, India is known for its spice export. So any kind of regulatory or some kind of a quality check is very essential. And in this regard, we have different regulatory bodies at the international level and also at the national level. So coming to the international level, we have got the American Spice Trade Association and also the International Organization for Standardization. And also at the national level, we have got the Spice Board and the FSSI, which actually deal with the quality control, the post-harvest technologies, the production of spices, the different quality checks which need to be done to the spices when they are sent out. Now, oleoresins and essential oils. We have spoken about spices. We know in our daily use, we make use of spices in the form of powders or in the form of ground spice or in some paste form or the whole spice as such. But there are also other byproducts in the way of oleoresins and essential oils which we derive from spices. And these essential oils, they are actually have a very high commercial value. And they also find a wide application when we are dealing with or when we are going into any food processing industries, particularly for noodles or some kind of snacks or soups and so on. So oleoresin preparation and extraction is very important. But before that, I will just tell you what are oleoresins. Now, when you talk about oleoresins or essential oils, flavored compounds which are derived by solvent extraction from the ground spices. And these oleoresins, they are highly flavored. That means they have the total flavored component of the spice and they have a very high commercial value. Now, oleoresins, they are known for their microbial advantage. They are quite pure. They have a commercial value. They are known for the uniformity and stability, like the way we get it. The pungency we get, that means in terms of the flavoring agent we get from these oleoresins or as they are used in the food processing industry. And then they are easy to store and transport. They have a high stability. And examples of oleoresins can be the fennel seed oleoresin, the black pepper oleoresin, or the capsaicin oleoresin. And then the usage, as I've already mentioned, it is here on the slide as well. Coming to the extraction, or how do we get these oleoresins from our spices? Now, the picture which you see on your screen is that of a distillation, is the apparatus which we actually use for distillation, and this is called as a still. So this is the apparatus, or this is the underlying principle which helps in the manufacturing of oleoresins. Now, distillation is the process by which we actually separate out two immiscible compounds or different compounds which are in the gaseous state. They are converted into the liquid state, and we get the essential oils from them. So the first, I'll just explain the different parts of this still apparatus. The first part is a distillating flask. That is where the spice material is ground and placed. We have a heat source from this. And then you have a condenser pipe. Now the condenser pipe helps to transfer or to change the gaseous matter or the gaseous vapor into a liquid state. And then we have the receiver or the receiving tank, and we also have a separator. Now the work of the separator is to separate out the immiscible liquids which is there. It is going to separate the essential oils and the hydrosol. Now the hydrosol is the water or the pure water which is extracted during the distillation process. So this is the underlying principle. Based on these principles, we will be doing the extraction of the oleoresins. So coming to the extraction processes of oleoresins and essential oils, there are different methods which are presented on your screen, and first you can see it's called the hydrodistillation. Hydrodistillation uses water or steam to distill out or to extract the oleoresin from the different spices. Now when you talk about hydrodistillation, we have got water distillation process, steam distillation, and we have also got water and steam distillation processes. Other than this, we have got solvent extraction, we have got a carbon dioxide extraction, or which is also known as the supercritical fluid extraction process, and then we have got cold pressing. Starting with the hydrodistillation extraction process. Now the hydrodistillation extraction process essentially uses different physiochemical aspects, like the major steps in the extraction process. They include hydrodiffusion, hydrolysis, and decomposition by heat. Now, this is the basic principle on which the hydrodistillation extraction process actually works. So the first thing in terms of hydrodiffusion, that means diffusion of essential oils and hot water through the plant membrane, is known as hydrodiffusion. That means whenever we are using some kind of a spice or a plant material, we are mixing it along with water, and with that agitation, the volatile compounds gradually start expelling. That is the hydrodiffusion process. You have hydrolysis. Hydrolysis is defined as a chemical reaction between water and certain constituents of the essential oils. And you have got decomposition by heat. So this, we already know that distillation uses some heat source to release the volatile compounds. So here, essential oils are unstable at high temperature, and to obtain the best quality oil, we have to go in for slower temperatures so that we do not lose any of the essential components of the essential oils. Now, starting with the process. So this is the whole diagrammatic representation of the steam distillation process. And here you can see, and on the left side of your screen, it is like the vaporized water. We have a steam source. Now the steam can come from a water tank which is which has some heat source. The steam comes to this and it is supplied to the plant material. Now the plant material, once it gets heated up, the vaporized water, in terms of the water that's getting evaporated, and the essential oils which is released from the plant material, they start moving upwards and gradually start moving on to the condenser. The condenser has cold water, and once the hot vapor along with the essential oils move across the coils of the condenser, they gradually change state. They change from the gaseous state to the liquid state. And when this comes, the water and the essential oils gradually start moving on to the separator, and in the separator they start getting segregated because they are two immiscible liquids. So you have one part which has the essential, which releases the essential oil, and it is collected in the receiving flask. Now moving on, so this is the whole process. This is for your easy understanding. The whole concept which I've introduced to you about steam distillation has been written out here. So I will just skip this slide for the time being. Now solvent extraction. Solvent extraction, unlike water extraction or hydrodistillation process, this does not use any form of water. And in this solvent extraction process, we actually use food grade solvents like hexane or ethanol, which is used as a solvent along with the plant material. Now, when this is especially suitable for delicate and resinous plants, which might be hampered or might be degraded because you use water and apply a high temperature. So during solvent extraction, there is just one thing which we need to remember, that is first is the use of a food grade solvent in terms of hexane, and the other one is once this hexane or the solvent is mixed with our plant material or with our spice, it is going to generate something like a resinous material which is called as concrete. So I will move on to the diagrammatic representation for a better understanding. Now, solvent extraction process, as you can see here, the plant material along with the solvent gradually starts becoming waxy and it becomes resinous in form of a concrete. Now, from this concrete gradually starts moving and it fills a tank which already has alcohol. Once there is a heat source, the alcohol starts getting vaporized and all the volatile compounds from the concrete gradually start getting released. The vapor again passes, it's the same procedure again. The hot vapor, when it moves into the condenser coils, it gradually starts releasing the essential oils which move on to the liquid state and get collected in the separator tank or the receiver flask. The next process here, as you can see, this is the next process which we are talking about in terms of the carbon dioxide extraction or the supercritical fluid extraction process. And here the process is of separating one component, that is the extractant, from another, that is a matrix, using a supercritical fluid. And in this process, we are actually using carbon dioxide as the supercritical solvent. The supercritical extraction uses carbon dioxide, as we have already spoken, and the critical temperatures are 31.3 degrees Celsius and pressure is about 72.9. And here the pressurized carbon dioxide becomes liquid while remaining in a gaseous state, and this is why it is called as supercritical here. In the diagrammatic representation will be much more clearer. Carbon dioxide extraction, as you can see, there is no water source, there is no solvent which is used, unlike the other processes. So this is the process which uses carbon dioxide which is in the liquid state, and this whole carbon dioxide in the liquid state gradually moves on and it is pumped at a very high pressure above their critical limits, and it is moved on to the plant or the spice material. Now this spice material and the plant material, they get agitated, they are mixed, the volatile compounds gradually start getting released and the carbon dioxide moves on and there is a regulatory valve. This regulatory valve or the reducing valve actually brings carbon dioxide into its normal pressure. The carbon dioxide is released back into the tank while the other essential oils or the oleoresins which are extracted, they move on to the separator and start getting collected in the collection vessel. So this is the process of carbon dioxide extraction, which is also known as the supercritical fluid extraction process, a very a highly used process these days because of the high amount of yield it gets and the purity level of the essential oils and oleoresins that we derived through this process from the different spices. Now cold pressing. Cold pressing is yet another process, and this is not very widely used except for the different seed spices like vanilla, where we get a very concentrated extract by using this process. And here it is a mechanical extraction under reduced heat. The outer layer of the plant is removed by scrubbing and the essential oils are derived or released by the pressing method, and the essential oils later rise to the surface and are collected by centrifugation. Coming to the conclusion, we all know that it is very important that we have the right extraction process in place, or we utilize the right extraction process so that we get a maximum yield, because spices are known for the commercial value and we do not want to waste them. And there are sophisticated ways like the supercritical extraction method, which is used for a higher yield. And India is known for its spice production. It's at the forefront of the export industry, of the spice industry. These oleoresins are widely used in the preparation of different foods like snacks and fast foods, which are increasing in the market these days. So, and India contributes about 70% of the world's oleoresin production. So thank you.